Good morning on this Halloween. I'm Kenneth Moten.
And I'm Janae Norman. Here are the top 5 things to know this Thursday. Number 1, a crucial vote in Washington today.
The House is voting today on a resolution laying out the rules that will clear the way for hearings in the impeachment investigation. Democrats expect to pass it without any Republican support.
They've summoned former National Security Advisor John Bolton to testify next week. His lawyer says they'll have to subpoena him first. Number 2, the historic fire emergency in California.
A new brush fire broke out overnight in Southern California, forcing a new round of evacuations south of Los Angeles. And in Sonoma County, crews say they're making progress against the destructive Kincaid fire, which was about 45% contained overnight.
Winds have calmed down in Northern California, but they remain fierce down south today, with gusts possibly hitting 80 miles per hour this morning.
On to number 3, the Pentagon has released dramatic images of the raid that ended with the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
In the video, you can see special forces exchange fire with militants on the ground in Syria before storming the compound. Despite the success of the mission, a top counterterrorism official delivered a fresh warning to lawmakers, saying at least 14,000 active ISIS fighters remain in Syria and Iraq.
There's no question that the losses over the weekend were significant to ISIS. At the same time, it's a deep bench.
Officials expect ISIS to announce a new leader in the coming days.
On to number 4 now. Twitter is banning all political ads ahead of the 2020 election.
Twitter's CEO says social media companies give advertisers an unfair advantage to spread misleading messages. President Trump's campaign manager calls the decision another attempt to silence conservative voices.
The move comes as Facebook continues to face criticism for not fact-checking political ads. CEO Mark Zuckerberg says it's not about profits, it's about upholding free expression.
And finally, number 5, a new World Series champion has been crowned.
This morning's Washington Post says it all. The headline reads, "At last, the Nats are champs." The Washington Nationals took the lead for good last night with a home run by Howie Kendrick. Then they added 3 more runs to beat the Houston Astros 6-2.
Back in D.C., the fans were celebrating in the rain, including one guy who ripped off that shirt.
Yeah!
And dove right across the dugout roof. It's the first World Series win for the Nationals franchise. ABC's Eva Pilgrim spoke with one of the heroes of the night, Howie Kendrick.
It took me 14 years, and they're hard to come by, even though I've been in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably the most special thing that I've ever done in my career.
What are you going to do to celebrate?
You know what? We got to go back to D.C. and bring a parade.
Here's the keys to your new
Back to D.C. As for the MVP, that went to pitcher Steven Strasburg, and the big parade is set for Saturday. All right, let's get to that big story. The crucial vote expected this morning in Washington as the impeachment investigation ramps up. Democrats plan to approve a resolution that will move the investigation from behind closed doors into public view.
Meanwhile, former National Security Advisor John Bolton is making it clear that he won't testify voluntarily. ABC's Inez de la Cortara has all the new details from Washington. Inez, good morning.
Good morning, Janae and Kenneth. House Democrats are confident they will achieve near unity as they vote on a new resolution outlining rules for making hearings public and for releasing deposition transcripts. This morning, House Democrats gearing up to take the impeachment inquiry to a whole new level as the full House prepares to vote on a resolution today laying out the rules for next steps in the investigation, including procedures for public hearings. Congressional Republicans still opposing the process.
Speaker Pelosi has initiated a bizarre process.
But they're struggling to explain the substance coming out of those hearings that's raising even more questions about the phone call that kicked off the inquiry. The White House has insisted it released a complete transcript of the conversation between President Trump and the president of Ukraine.
Word for word, comma for comma, done by people that do it for a living. We had an exact transcript.
But earlier this week, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, who was on that call, reportedly told lawmakers that crucial phrases were left out. According to the New York Times, Vindman testified the document released by the White House did not include comments from the president that there were recordings of former Vice President Joe Biden discussing corruption. And it did not reflect the Ukrainian president making an explicit mention of the company Biden's son worked for. On Wednesday, more damning testimony from Trump's nominee for Russia Ambassador John Sullivan.
Soliciting investigations into a domestic political opponent, I don't think that would be in accord with our values.
Democrats now summoning the president's former national security advisor John Bolton. His attorney telling ABC News Bolton will not appear voluntarily, but will accept a subpoena.
And Tim Morrison is expected to testify today. He is the top Russia expert on the National Security Council, but he's also expected to leave his White House post soon.
All right. And Inez, why is it important for the House committees to hear from the former National Security Advisor, John Bolton?
Yeah, so John Bolton, multiple witnesses have testified that John Bolton was someone in the administration who was growing increasingly concerned with this pressure campaign, pressuring the Ukrainian leader to investigate Trump's political opponents. According to one of those witnesses, Bolton even once referred to the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, as a hand grenade who was going to blow everybody up. So House Democrats here are going to want to know what Bolton did, if he did anything, to try and stop that pressure campaign.
All right, Inez, before you go, I don't know if you heard, but it's Halloween. So what are we dressing as this evening? No pressure. If there's nothing, say nothing.
It's nothing. I haven't had any time to plan. But I will say one of my most successful costumes came out of having nothing planned, was last year. And I just grabbed a bed sheet and poked a couple holes in and put on some I was a ghost with really round sunglasses. I feel like the sunglasses made all the difference. Yeah, so I might end up doing that again.
With a ghost who's in need of new bed sheets now.
Yeah.
But you just destroyed those. Hey, Inez, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, now to that breaking news from the historic firefight in California.
Another wildfire exploded overnight, forcing mandatory evacuation south of Los Angeles. The thick smoke can be seen billowing over the area.
This new fire comes as authorities issue a warning that they've never had to issue before. Overnight, new wildfires erupting in Southern California. This fire south of Los Angeles forced evacuations, with flames fueled by the strongest winds to hit this area in more than a decade. The situation so dire, the National Weather Service issued an extreme red flag warning for the first time ever. The wind so powerful it blew over big rigs.
The heat is intense, the wind is enormous, and it's fueling that inferno.
Gusts topping 70 miles per hour in Simi Valley as the so-called Easy Fire ignited Wednesday, coming within 30 yards of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library.
You can see the flare-ups up here as well as it's inching closer and closer to the library.
The landmark is where the former president and First Lady Nancy Reagan are now buried. Inside the building, Air Force One and a dozen people sheltering in place as flames raced up the hills. An employee describes what those firefighters saved.
We have an actual Air Force One airplane on display that served 7 U.S. presidents. Every speech Ronald Reagan ever gave, every handwritten note, every memo, every photograph ever taken of him. There's so many priceless items within our walls. I couldn't even name them all.
Ground crews also worked fiercely to protect thousands of houses in jeopardy.
We try to save them all. We can't always be in the right place at the right time.
Homeowners jumped in, some using buckets, trying desperately to douse the flames. Others scrambling to get themselves and their terrified animals to safety.
We grabbed the trailers and took off.
In Riverside County, another wildfire created this apocalyptic-looking scene. Dozens of people in wheelchairs evacuated from a nursing home, blanketed by blinding smoke. And this morning, new concerns about other fires burning in the state. The largest, the Kincaid Fire in Sonoma County, has now destroyed more than 76,000 acres, burning down more than 130 homes. The historic firefight taking its toll on emergency personnel. The evidence seen on these Ventura County Sheriff's deputies covered in fire retardant. And for the firefighters battling the flames, some are working 26-hour shifts and haven't been home since Sunday.
You all have families? What do you say when you leave to head out on multiple days now? This is what, day 4?
I think they understand that the families around here know that we're important to them.
And we know that more heavy winds are expected in Southern California this morning. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for the latest developments throughout the day.
Well, 2 weeks of street protests have forced Chile to cancel 2 major global summits it was about to host. Authorities used tear gas against protesters in the streets of Santiago Wednesday. The demonstrations are meant to address Chile's inequality. President Trump was scheduled to attend next month's summit of Asian Pacific leaders, where he hoped to sign a trade deal with China. A White House spokesman says the U.S. and China are still working to finalize an agreement.
And back here at home, today is Halloween, as we mentioned, but that doesn't mean everyone is going to trick or treat.
Bad weather in the Chicago area has forced many communities to cancel children's candy collecting. Some areas in the northern suburbs of Chicago are expecting up to 3 inches of snow.
The communities have canceled today's trick-or-treating, have already rescheduled either for tomorrow or Saturday. Indoor malls in the area say their stores will be open so kids can still have some fun.
Stay warm.
Also in Chicago, teachers have approved a tentative contract deal, but they're still returning to the picket lines today. That's because the union wants the city to add school days to the calendar to make up for those canceled during the strike. So far, the mayor is refusing that demand.
We turn now to the growing effort to free a convicted killer on death row.
Rodney Reed is scheduled to be executed for murder of a teenager in 1996, but now lawmakers and even celebrities are rallying behind him amid growing doubts about his guilt.
This morning, convicted killer Rodney Reed is set to be executed in 3 weeks, but he maintains his innocence.
I know that I'm innocent. I am innocent, absolutely innocent.
Reed was convicted of killing 19-year-old Stacy Stites. Her murder stunned the small town of Gidlings, Texas back in 1996. Her body was found dumped on the side of a rural road just weeks before her wedding.
He strangled 19-year-old Stacy Stites with her own belt.
Police arrested Rodney Reed for capital murder after his DNA was found at the scene. Reed claims he had a secret and consensual relationship with Stites, which he says explains his DNA being found.
If a new jury were to hear your case, what do you think would exonerate you?
I know that if they was to hear this case, that this case will itself exonerate me.
Why? Why are you so convinced?
Because all the evidence points to the person who we all think did this crime.
And now another potential bombshell. The Innocent Project released a sworn affidavit from a prisoner who claims that a known party to Stites confessed to her murder while the two served time together behind bars. This morning, celebrities, including Kim Kardashian and Mark Cuban, are calling on the Texas governor to stop the execution so evidence can be investigated. But this morning, prosecutors are standing by their case and the guilty verdict.
A claim of innocence is consistent and cohesive, and it goes in one direction. Theirs has gone everywhere over the years. They've now settled on this one, but when you look at it, it's a scattershot approach of lots of different things, and that's part of the problem. The right man has been convicted beyond a reasonable doubt of Stacy Stites' murder.
Reed's execution is scheduled for November 20th. As for the Stites family, they say they're confident Reed is the killer.
There is disappointing news about student test scores across the country. 2/3 of American students cannot read at their grade level. Reading scores for 4th and 8th graders are down in the last 2 years. The U.S. Education Department calls it a student achievement crisis.
That is really disheartening to hear. The 14-year-old Virginia teen missing for more than a week has been found safe. Isabel Hicks was with her alleged abductor, Bruce Lynch. He was taken into custody and is facing felony abduction charges. Search efforts intensified after Isabel was spotted with Lynch Monday night. Authorities feared for the girl's safety, saying Lynch was armed and suicidal.
And it looks like the hero military dog injured when ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi blew himself up, and that tunnel will soon be coming to America. President Trump tweeted a doctor image of himself giving the dog what appears to be a canine Medal of Honor, and he revealed the dog's name, saying the live version of Conan will be leaving the Middle East for the White House sometime next week.
Well, coming up, we're into Halloween costumes.
Sure are.
From kids to celebrities, we'll show you the best of the best.
Plus, the debate over sexy costumes and feminism. Go inside the lingerie company behind some of the most iconic looks.
All right, welcome back. It's Halloween, and we are so excited for all the fun and great costumes. But Halloween is, some would say, really for the kids. So we're going back to elementary school for some costume inspiration.
We'll again talk with students about what they plan to wear trick or treating tonight.
Halloween is right around the corner. Are we excited, yes or no?
Yes! I already know I'm gonna be.
What are you gonna be?
A fairy.
Ah, I love that. Are you gonna have wings?
Well, I think I will.
Okay.
And I already got the costume.
How about you, Isabel?
I'm gonna be a pirate.
Do any of you guys know how to talk like a pirate? Yuvraj?
Land ahoy!
What was
Land ahoy!
There you go. Do you know what you're dressing up as, Yuvraj?
Yeah.
What is it?
Pikachu?
I have been Pikachu once or twice in my day.
going to be the most intelligent witch of her age, Hermione Granger.
Lots of Harry Potters.
I'm dressing up as Phileas Flitwick.
Phileas Flitwick, the professor
Yeah.
who teaches charms.
Yeah. I may be Dumbledore,
Great.
Voldemort, Harry Potter, or Slappy the Talking Dummy from Goosebumps.
So I like how 3 of them are pretty similar, and then Slappy the talking dummy, kind of a plot twist.
I'm going to be almost everything I like. I'm going to be a Penny, I'm going to be Phenomena, I'm going to be Mega Man, and I think that's what I'm gonna be.
Is this all in the same night?
Yes.
Costume change after costume change?
But no, I'm wearing all of them at the same time.
I cannot wait to see those photographs. What should I dress up as this year for Halloween?
You should be a Cheetos bag, a Doritos bag, or a chocolate bar.
Okay, so garbage, cool. All right.
And I want to tell you one more thing, please. If I'm gonna be Slappy the Talking Dummy, I'm gonna scare all of those little children. By the way, I am your worst nightmare.
Bum, bum, bum.
Big thanks, as usual, to Basis Independent Manhattan for letting us spend time with their brilliant students, and happy and safe trick-or-treating for those kids tonight.
Yep, for all of them. Speaking of costumes, let's check our notifications to see who has the best costume on social media. This is a good one.
Starting with the cutest Popeyes chicken sandwich we've seen so far. Even better than the sexy sandwich we saw last week.
His mom got in on it too. She was dressed as the Popeye.
Oh yeah, she was. Those chicken sandwiches apparently go back on sale. Wait, she kind of looks like the woman from the Popeyes commercial. A little bit. I like it.
Well, she dressed up like her.
Well, yeah.
Next, Batman paid a visit to a children's hospital.
Oh, you know the kids love that when Batman or anybody in costume visits the kids.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Rappelling down the
side of a building. If I were a kid, I really thought I would have thought that was Batman.
I have one hero. Superhero's nice. How about even more? This was a scene at a college library taken over by Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Radioactive Spider-Man.
Imagine the cleanup.
Oh, even the one in black there, the evil one.
And from Spider-Man to raccoons in the library. These critters spotted roaming around the library at Arkansas State University. They didn't spend too much time in there, though, because when staff saw them, they reported them to building management. And after they were trapped, an animal rescuer released the raccoons back into the wild.
Oh, okay. Pretty cool. Celebrities are getting in on the Halloween fun, too, and we are crazy in love this morning with Russell Wilson and Sierra's Jay-Z and Beyonce costume. The couple recreated one of their most famous music videos that we're all going ape over.
And so here's a side-by-side for you. You see they replaced the Mona Lisa with former president, former First Lady Barack and Michelle Obama. They nailed it.
Even got some even videos. It wasn't just pictures.
Yeah, no, they did a really good job.
Look at Russell Wilson. And their kids are also getting into the spirit. Young Future Jr. channeling Michael Jackson.
So good.
And Sienna rocking her Janet Jackson look.
Whole family killed it. Yeah. And another music mainstay was being channeled. This photo from last Halloween making the rounds on Twitter this year because, frankly, Paul Rudd really nailed this one, looking a lot like Weird Al Yankovic.
But Weird Al had the most epic response, sharing this photo of Rudd's Ant-Man character with his own head-attached caption, "Might have to rethink my Halloween costume for this year."
Yeah.
Well, now Kevin Hart, who's sharing this video of himself dressed up as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in an embarrassing throwback.
Trick or treat. Why are you dressed like that? Because it's my costume. All you gotta do is go to the costume store and say, "Make me look stupid."
Don't stand like that.
Bro,
that's the
how you
problem.
stood.
That's not how I stood. I didn't stand like that. I stand. Look, what do you want?
The kids say you giving out the good stuff.
I am giving out the good stuff. I'm not giving it to you.
I said trick or treat.
Okay. You want some candy?
Yes.
Oh, hey, you want the king-size candy?
Yeah.
No, you don't get that at all. Here's what you get. It's bite-sized, tiny, mini, like you.
I don't want that.
Put this in your fanny pack.
Maybe next year you don't try to say.
Of course, Hart is using the video to promote the release of the new trailer for his upcoming movie Jumanji: The Next Level. And that brings us to the question of the day. What are you dressing up as for Halloween? We tried out a few looks earlier this morning, World News Now.
Yeah, we did. I mean, we did, you were Cleopatra.
I was Cleopatra.
I was Steve from Stranger Things.
Scoops
we all know
Ahoy.
Scoops Ahoy, where he was working in the show. It was pretty iconic.
Shorts.
And then we were the Nerds Candy.
Oh, yeah. 2-in-1.
Yeah.
We had glasses and everything.
It's because I got a deal on the costume.
See? Yeah.
2-in-1.
Made it work.
I even put on the curls.
Tell us what you're wearing in the comments, or even better, tweet us a picture of your costume at ABC News Live.
Hey, it's nice to see Kevin Hart, by the way, on doing better.
Well.
The
Major
way he was
recovery.
standing doesn't look like he have any back issues at all. So
Yeah.
all that rehab is working.
Yep, good for him.
Hey, if you haven't figured out your Halloween costume yet, you still have a few hours left.
And if it's sexy that you want, there's a lingerie company that has something just for you, no matter what your idea of sexy may be. Here's ABC's Diane Macedo.
Give me some attitude.
It's the sexiest holiday of the year, but dressing up on Halloween has come a long way since Thriller. The costumes have become sexier, and sexy costumes have taken on a life of their own, morphing from classic looks like the SWAT hottie and Fallen Angel,
SWAT hottie pays the bills around here,
to tongue-in-cheek and topical, like Fake News and White Claw.
We get a lot of inspiration from, girls in the office if they're drinking White Claw.
These days, nothing is off limits, even childhood friends like Mr. Rogers.
Please won't you be my neighbor?
Isn't Mr. Rogers sexy enough? I mean, he is, but why not bring him to light a little bit more?
Pilar Quintana Williams is the VP of Merchandising at Yandy, a lingerie company that has become the hottest costume maker in the game. Every year, their costumes generate dozens of headlines and thousands of tweets.
It's a fun holiday, and that's what we're here to do, is make sure that you go out there wearing what you want.
Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it.
Parodied in movies like Mean Girls,
I'm a mouse. Duh.
and Sex in the City,
the only two choices for women, witch and sexy kitten.
And beloved by celebrities, Sexy Halloween has inspired dozens of think pieces by critics and supporters, those who argue it's feminist and those who say it's not.
A true feminist just does what she wants to do. I think people should embrace it and have fun.
And believe it or not, there's even a study on the subject. Professors Lori Hires and Erin Hipple of Westchester University have followed the phenomenon closely. The professors and their students studied over 1,600 Halloween costumes sold by major retailers and found that over 90% of women's costumes were sexualized.
Sexual agency is powerful and empowering for many people, and I think it's really important for us to stop making appearance comments and shaming folks for the way that they dress. But the purpose of our research is not about restricting options, it's about expanding them. And I think also thinking about what our definition of sexy is.
Pilar says Yandy also offers plenty of options that are more full coverage than full frontal, with over 1,000 plus-sized options.
So one of the arguments that we've heard is that there aren't enough options for women who don't want to dress in a revealing manner.
We are telling all the girls out there to own your sexy. We have everything from floor length to ball gown to thorts. So we got you, girl. I am not comfortable in a thort, but many people are. So, do you.
Yandy's got you covered, however you define that, and it's a booming market.
We've done actually over 120,000 Halloween orders to date so far this year. These are our safe for work costumes actually, right? This is one of our top sellers as well. Here's a nice pumpkin t-shirt dress.
There you go. You can never have too many sexy cops, apparently.
No.
What are some of your most popular all-time costumes that Yandy has sold?
Our SWAT hottie. Still need to do the tried and trues. You still need SWAT hotties day after day.
You need SWAT hotties.
Everybody needs
What will the world do without SWAT hotties?
We just want you to have fun that day. So all controversy aside, I think it's just enjoy it.
Even the professors can't argue with that.
I love Halloween.
You and me both.
Yes, it's my favorite. One of the things that's also happening in terms of sexy costumes trending is there are movements. I mean, I hear the word body positivity movement. I think that's very empowering. And if it's an opportunity to feel sexy, I think that embracing that is awesome.
Happy Halloween! I'm Diane Macedo in Phoenix.
All right, well, coming up, there's more than trick-or-treating going on today. We'll tell you what's to come on this Halloween Thursday.
And another hero dog is making headlines. This one, a bulldog named Mr. Wrinkles. We'll tell you his story after this. Here's what to watch out for today. The House is set to hold its first official vote on the impeachment inquiry, setting rules that include public hearings and possible articles of impeachment against the president.
And the president's top advisor for Russian and European affairs is set to testify in the inquiry today. Tim Morrison would be the first political appointee from the White House to appear. He was a Republican congressional staffer who was brought on by former National Security Advisor John Bolton. Another witness said it was Morrison who told him military aid to Ukraine hinged on launching investigations linked to Joe Biden and his son.
Democratic Congresswoman Katie Hill is scheduled to give her final speech on the House floor. Hill is resigning amid allegations of inappropriate relationships with staffers. She blames Republican opponents and her estranged husband for politicizing and publishing nude photos of her.
Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is due in court on new charges in his sexual misconduct case. Lawyer Mark Heller says the charges involve a new accuser. Gooding Jr. was arrested after a woman said he squeezed her breast without consent at a Manhattan bar.
And New York City is in the Halloween spirit, holding the 46th annual Village Halloween Parade. This year's theme is Wild Thing. Plus, don't forget to tune into The Debrief for an update on all our top stories in the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics.
Well, finally from us today, an American bulldog named Mr. Wrinkles is getting plenty of praise this morning.
Mr. Wrinkles was out for a walk with his owner in Fair Lawn, New Jersey. His owner, that man, was hit by a car. The 64-year-old was rushed to the hospital with head and leg injuries. The victim had no ID, and police say Mr. Wrinkles led them to his home about 5 blocks away.
They then told the family about the accident. That victim is in critical condition. Mr. Wrinkles is okay, and police say they don't know how long it would have taken them to ID the man without Mr. Wrinkles' help.
We do hope for a speedy recovery for that man and to be reunited with Mr. Wrinkles ASAP there.
That's it from us on this Halloween. Have a safe and happy Halloween.
Enjoy. See you tomorrow.